Good morning. So, throughout my time I was sitting down here, I had some really interesting numbers. 2.9 million users, only 404 million naira spent over 10 years in marketing, 11 billion in revenue. And as those numbers kept going, I was wondering, at what point does this hall stand up and give the Tizeti team a round of applause? Come on, guys, stand up and give the Tizeti team a round of applause. Gentlemen and ladies, this is Nigeria, a country where we've seen exchange rates quadruple. A country where, come on, you can do better. Thank you. That's what I expected. Thank you very much. I just want to say a big kudos to Kendall, Ifeanyi, Temitokwe, and the rest of the leadership team and the board of Tizeti. You guys are doing something transformational. For the environment, you're not pouring out CO2, no diesel. From French colony to Carlton Gate, to now you're talking about being in Tema, talking about being in Oyo, in Benin. That is how you transform an economy. That is how you make real difference. And all of this with no debt. Come on, that is impressive. So what I'm about to talk to you guys today about is connected schools, connected people. But there is a more underlying message that opportunities like these, when I get them, I have to use it. To talk about what we need to do as a people. When I mean as a people, I'm not just talking about Nigeria. I'm talking about Africa, to transform this continent. Kendall did not get here if he did not have access to quality education. He got here because himself and Ifeanyi were educated as engineers. And I was really excited. Even their first customer was an engineer. And when he was asked, why did you believe in these two young men moving around, struggling with cables, trying to understand where the network is? He said, well, it wasn't because I had any confidence. It was because I was an engineer. And when I see engineers trying to create something, I get excited. I want to support them. That should tell us something as a people. That education, in all its ramifications, is what is going to transform our country and our continent. And until we begin to invest in that transformation through the instrumentality of access to quality education, we are not going to make a difference, no matter how much we spend. And that was why I left a cozy job working for a Fortune 10 company to go start Teesas. I left a job where I was probably one of the youngest ever operations manager because I was passionate about transforming my country and Africa. So I'm going to talk to you today about Teesas, about how connecting schools, connecting people, giving them access to the kind of internet service that the Tizeti team is providing can truly transform lives now and into the future. So education has evolved. The education landscape today is not what most of you experienced. I've heard Odiaka, Ugosigo, all of that is good. But in the digital knowledge economy that our children are going to compete in, a lot of the skills that we've spent 20 years through the academic system learning are going to be obsolete, completely obsolete. The teaching methods are evolving. Children at 7 are beginning to learn how to interact with Node.js, Python, JavaScript. Kendall said he learned how to code at 12. Guess what? Bill Gates learned that too at 12. If they had no access to digital education, to new forms of learning, I'm not sure even Kendall will be here today. So the landscape is evolving, and evolving really fast. Now, there is a significant bifurcation occurring. The developing economies and the less developed economies like ours are moving in opposite directions with respect to how education systems evolve. But unfortunately, when they come out of that education system, they all meet again in the same global marketplace, where they will now have to compete with children who have been exposed to new, revolutionary educational methods, and they are still wondering how to go about solving algebra, reading Ugo, while a child that was born in the Netherlands, that was born in the US, is talking about how to design new AIs, is thinking through systems that would put people on Mars. Large countries don't go to Mars or go to the moon because they want to have a chip on their shoulder. They do that because in that process, they develop technologies that will transform how you and I interact with the world we know. That is why they do those large projects, not because they want to say, oh, I put somebody on Mars. So the only way we can bridge that gap, gentlemen and ladies, is by digitalizing education. Technology, in many respects, creates a level playing field. And until, as a people, we become aware of that gift, we're missing the point. Today, if I want to learn about solar panels, if I want to learn about new coding languages, with Google, I have the same opportunity as a child who is in Silicon Valley. With Google, my child has the same opportunity as a child in Tel Aviv in Israel. So technology creates a significant level field. And if we tap into it, we can begin to bridge the gaps ahead of us. So what is a connected school? A connected school is a community where teachers, parents, school leaders, all of the critical stakeholders that are required to develop the total child, please underline that word, the total child. We're not just talking about academics. When a child can think in multiple dimensions, it is not necessarily because he understands 1 + 1. Social emotional learning skills, collaborative skills, accountability, those things go into the educational process. And a connected school is an environment where all stakeholders understand that and are working together to deliver on that vision. Now, the goals for that connected school can be specific, but it can also be broader. And that is why at Teesas, we don't just focus on the A and the B, the 1 and 2s, or the algebras. We focus on the total child. Just yesterday, we announced our partnership with Franklin Covey, the largest leadership organization in the world, leadership training organization in the world. Now, for many of you here, you may have heard about or read at some point about Stephen Covey and his work with leadership, developing leaders, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It's a bestseller. His son, Sean Covey, has written about the 7 habits of highly effective teams. So what have we done at Teesas? We've struck a partnership with them an exclusive partnership for Africa to bring video lessons that will teach children in an engaging and indigenously adapted way the 7 habits of highly effective people. Now, thank you. Now, what is that going to do for us? Today on the app, we teach them academics. We teach them how to know the maths, the sciences. But because we're focused on the total child, we are collaborating with schools all across the country and Africa to introduce the Leader in Me. Now, that Leader in Me program would create a culture of leadership, a culture of accountability that would help children truly imbibe the 7 habits of highly effective people. And all of that will be delivered through the digital content or the digital platform that we've built, which is the Teesas education app. But how do we do that if we're not connected? We can't send those videos. We can't send those e-books through the sky, like what they call witches and wizards those days, that they're flying through trees and all of that. It's not going to happen. We need partners that deliver reliable, consistent, and most importantly, affordable internet access. And that is why I am super excited and super proud of what Tizeti, working with their partners, Main One, Microsoft, and others, is doing to liberalize access to the internet. So thank you once again, Tizeti, for the good work. Now, why is the work to build a connected school community important? For one, it enhances learning outcomes. Time and time again, it's been proven that when all stakeholders are aligned on developing the total child, the results are significantly different. For example, on the Teesas education app, we have a companion parent app called the Teesas Parent app. Now, what does that do? Every time your child is on the Teesas education app, with the Teesas Parent app, you have clear insights into what they do, and as they watch a suite of videos and take the test and practice questions, you get first-hand information on their performance. All the results go back to you as the parent. So that way, as a deliberate parent, you can clearly tell the educational gaps that your child is facing, and you can get really involved. With that shared responsibility, you as a parent can have a direct influence on how your child's education transforms. Now, this is not something that a lot of us experienced growing up. A lot of us depended on the teacher, maybe at the end of the term or when our parents come to visit us in boarding house to get feedback. Okay, is Junior behaving? Junior is doing well, or is being bullied, or is a bully, or is not flunking mathematics. But with an app that connects all the stakeholders, the moment Junior gets on the app and takes a mathematics practice test question, you know very clearly that Junior is struggling with LCM or is struggling with another fundamental concept, and you can immediately intervene. Hey, Junior, go watch those videos again. Hey, Junior, come, let's talk about it. What help do you need? That is what connectedness does. Getting all stakeholders, parents, teachers, working together in unison to transform the child. Plus, there are other things that a connected environment will do. Increasing learning opportunities for children. No child learns the same. For parents here, even if you have twins, they think differently, the level of assimilation could be different. That, again, is where platforms like Teesas really differentiates itself. With our artificial intelligence capabilities, we can watch the trend, the learning journey of your child, and give them content that is suitable to their learning pace so that they can develop at their own pace. One of the problems with today's education is that we try to force-feed every child at the same pace with the same content because we think they belong to the same age group. Again, that is why I made the case for change by saying education is evolving, has evolved. Many developing economies have changed that strategy. And even though children can be in the same class groups, the content they receive, the pace of education can be differentiated. One of the ways you do that effectively is by connecting those schools to the internet and giving them digital platforms, educational apps like Teesas to transform their learning journeys. Now, we've talked about the benefits. We've made a case for change. How do you actually create these connected school communities? Obviously, you need access to high-speed internet services that are reliable, that are consistent, and that are affordable. Imagine a situation where a school in Makoko has access to high-speed internet, has access to online learning platforms like Teesas, where a child that is growing up in Makoko can read the 7 habits, can watch videos that talk about effectiveness, that talk about collaboration. Today we hear stories, very terrible stories, bullying in schools, child pornography. These are all symptoms of a deeper problem around socio-emotional learning. And these are the kind of problems that can be solved very easily at a fraction of the cost that we deal with today using online learning platforms, apps like Teesas, and driving that connectedness. Finally, there must be awareness and a strong commitment within the stakeholders. And when I'm talking stakeholders, I'm talking the government, parents, teachers, and the general public. We all must be committed to transforming education in Nigeria and in Africa. That is the only way we can build leaders that will drive this country in the direction that we can all be proud of. Thank you very much.